Hi, everyone, and welcome to Signature West Podcast. I'm your host, Sam West from Palm Springs, California. As you know, I'm a seasoned real estate agent since 1991, and I bring you the podcast to bring you inspiring stories. Some real estate related, some are not. Today is. Today, we're going to talk about difficult real estate transactions, and how we can avoid them. For the most part, we can. So let's start with the core players in a real estate transactions. First of all, it takes a village, but we don't have time for the whole village. We're going to talk about the core players in the transaction. You have the seller and the seller's agent. You have the buyer and the buyer's agent. Sometimes it's the same agent, not very often. And when it does, it's more difficult than you think. We have the buyer's lender, unless the buyer's paying cash. Most of the time, they're not. And then we have the escrow company that puts this together, keeps it anchored. They're very neutral for the most part. At least they should be. They are. Okay. So what makes it difficult? If there's only one, two, three, four, five people involved. First of all, the seller and the buyer, 10 out of 10, they don't talk to each other or they even meet. Sometimes they never meet. Once in a while they do by accident, but often they don't, never see each other. So you have the core seller's agent and the buyer's agent that talk to each other. Okay. So the first thing that everybody should get it through their head is setting expectations on all sides. Setting expectations. What does that mean? Well, if you're a seller, you need to be realistic with your expectations. If you're going to say, I'm going to move out by noon on the day of closing, maybe you should say by 6 p.m. instead, just in case, because that might cause problems. Be available to answer your phone calls. Doesn't mean you open the contract and you can go MIA and don't return your messages till once a week. That's a problem. If you're the buyer, the same thing. You need to be available to your agent. You need to be available. Now, let's just focus on the seller for now, and then we'll talk about the buyer. Most often, things go bad because of communication skills. So if the agent and their client, the seller, are not communicating, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be he said, she said. And guess what that lingers to? The buyer, the seller's agent, vice versa. You didn't tell me. Well, he did not tell me. Well, I didn't get it from him on time. Why didn't he tell me? And then that's when things get really messy, really messy. You're supposed to get, your paperwork by tomorrow signed. Why didn't you get it? Well, I couldn't find my client. Whose problem is that? Was your client aware that you need to get this stuff done by tomorrow? It's your job. It's setting expectations. Setting expectations. Now, let's talk about the buyer's lender. When people use a lender, who's a lender? It's probably Bank of America, Chase, a mortgage company that goes to a bank, to a lender, whatever they're called, Wells Fargo. There's so many. But you're not dealing really with the Wells Fargo or the BFA or the president of Chase. You have a loan officer, okay, or a mortgage broker. His name is John Doe. It's hot in here. And that's all the point of contact the buyer has. That's all the point of contact the buyer has. But now he's not really the only person in charge. That mortgage broker or the bank rep has a person called a loan processor. That's a person that gets all the paperwork together from your buyer, from you. That's kind of like the paperwork person. And God knows if they're missing things and they didn't tell their loan officer, the buyer did not get to know, it's a problem. And then you have the underwriter. The underwriter is like God in the banking world. You never get to meet the underwriter and you never get to talk to the underwriter. Ever. Ever. They're that untouchable. But they are the final say-so. They can tell you at the last second, I want to see what kind of shirt you're wearing. They don't say that I'm being dramatic. But they can request at the last minute. And then things go crazy. The buyer, you didn't tell me I need to bring in my mother to sign, or you didn't tell me I need to, tell you what kind of dog I have. Why are you asking me now at the last minute? And that's all going to fall back on whom? On the rep that the buyer hired, or that mortgage broker that the buyer's agent recommended. That's the only person you can punch back at, because that's the only person you know. That's the only person you can complain to. So what's the point of this story, this example? For the buyer or the buyer's agent, they need to make sure, that's how things go bad, they don't make sure, that mortgage broker or that bank rep, if you're going directly to a bank, is a person that knows what they were doing. I can't begin to tell you how many times, even though the person that knows what they're doing and they've been doing this for gazillion years, you still at the last minute have a crisis of some sort, which the only person that can solve that crisis is that mortgage broker or the bank rep. None of us really can. You say, what do you want me to do? I don't have it. You're asking me at the last minute to bring you, bank statement from 20 years ago. What do you want me to do? You better go talk to the underwriter and figure it out. Some can, some cannot. The ones that cannot, they don't have a relationship with the underwriter. And they're basically either got into business fairly, recent, or they just don't know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, the person that would be getting yelled at is the buyer's agent. Do you see how this is all connected? Yet there's only two players that are sort of responsible at the end of the day. And responsible for what? Responsible for what? Communication, communication, communication. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. And if you're a new agent, if you've been around for the last, a few years, if you haven't gotten that part done, and there's so many out there, just the way it is, especially in any market that's infested with agents that don't communicate. They just expect things to fall down, from heaven, and it's all going to work itself out. But that's when managers have to get involved. That's when CEO have to get involved, and that's when brokers have to get involved, and then it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. And the only person is going to be pissed, depending on which side here, probably both, is the seller, because they didn't get their closing on time, or the buyer, because they didn't get their dream home. And the only people going to be blamed for this is the buyer's agent or the seller's agent, or both, depending on how the communication was done, depending on who communicated better in the end. This agent will say, I told you, I asked for it on time, I gave you this, I gave you that, he did not do it. Then that side will look like an incompetent, unprofessional, or vice versa. So it's communication, communication, communication. Now, we forgot escrow. Good escrow. Escrow is really simple. Escrow is very neutral. Escrow just puts this together. Escrow has to give you things on time and make you aware. Hey, people, today at 5 p.m., we're due for this. Hey, people, tomorrow we're due and I didn't get what I need to get. Go figure it out. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. If you don't get it by 5 o'clock, that's on you. But all they can do is give you the alarm or tell you, I didn't get this paperwork from so-and-so. I didn't get the deposit from the buyer. It's not the escrow's job to go and chase and run. They can only send, an email, hey, your deposit is due. But they can't force them to bring it. It's your job, the buyer's agent, to find out where that is. And it's your job as the seller's agent to say, wait, I found out there's no money here. The deposit, where is it? So escrow is very neutral. Escrow is very neutral, but their job is to keep it all together. Okay? All right. So let's not memorize it. Let's bring it down to bullet points to avoid difficult real estate transactions. Okay? Never overpromise and underdeliver. Never. It's going to bite you in the rear end every time. So just don't overpromise. Don't say, I'm going to do it by noon, and then you cannot really do it till 4. Communication is everything. It's just not that complicated, people. It really isn't. But some people think this job is just like, hey, put it in here, log box it, and I'll get my messages when I can. No. You're making us all look bad. All. Okay. I get a bit excited here. Third, set the expectations with your client. If you're the buyer side, tell them, hey, we can close in 30 days, but it's a little tight. There's a holiday in between. Just make sure that you're available on the clock, and because we might not. And if we don't, I told you so. For the seller, set expectations. Mr. Seller, can you get out by the 30th? Well, maybe I can. No. If you can't, let me know now. We can do it, can get you a day extension, 2 days extension, but let's be very clear on what we can deliver and what we cannot deliver. They're going to thank you in the end. They really will. They're going to think of you as, oh my God, he's so smart. Oh my God, he told me everything in the beginning. And you're going to be like, hey, keep your emotions in check. That's note to self. That's note to self. Keep emotions in check. The buyer, for the buyers, is the most emotional, actually for the seller as well. It's the most emotional decision they make besides getting married. These are just facts. So they don't need you to be emotional. They already are emotional. So they don't need their agent to be extra emotional, because that's a lot of emotions going on. And it ain't gonna be good for anybody. Okay. So keep your emotions in check. Another note to self. Focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can control. That's really in life in general, that it doesn't matter what part of your life you're dealing with, but especially here, since this is the topic of the day, focus on what you can control. You can't control what the lender will or will not do. You can't control what the other side, seller or buyer, can or cannot do. All you can control is what? All you can control is what? Your communication. Your communication. All right? Hope you found this helpful, and hopefully everybody, whether you're a seller, a buyer, a realtor, a loan officer listening, hopefully you found this helpful, and hopefully this will inspire you. And if it did, please subscribe. It's for free. And I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.